The ultrasound room was quiet until the doctor froze. Her hands started shaking. She stared at the screen, then pulled me aside and whispered, "You need to leave your husband. Now." My heart stopped. This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. From the outside, my marriage looked perfect. My husband was kind, attentive, and always knew the right thing to say. He never missed an appointment, never raised his voice, and made everyone believe I was the luckiest woman alive. When I found out I was pregnant, he cried before I did. He held my hands, kissed my forehead, and promised me a future filled with safety and love. Our families celebrated us like a fairy tale. Friends envied us. Social media showed smiling photos, gentle touches, and late-night dessert runs because of my cravings. He read books about pregnancy, reminded me to take vitamins, and told me how proud he was of me every single day. I trusted him completely. Why wouldn't I? There were small things, of course. Moments I brushed off because love makes excuses feel reasonable. The way he avoided talking about his past. How he insisted on handling all paperwork and records. His discomfort whenever doctors asked too many questions. I told myself he was just private, protective, caring. I believed marriage meant trust, and trust meant not questioning the man who shared my bed, my future, and now my child. I thought love was enough to keep us safe. I didn't know that behind his calm smile and gentle voice, something was hiding, something that would turn my happiest chapter into my darkest nightmare. That morning, I walked into the hospital smiling. The air smelled like sanitizer and fresh coffee, and my heart felt light. This appointment was supposed to be magical. I imagined hearing the heartbeat, maybe getting a picture to take home. My husband squeezed my hand before stepping out, saying he'd be right outside. The doctor greeted me warmly and began the ultrasound like any other routine check. The screen flickered to life. At first, everything felt normal. She moved the device slowly, clicking keys, nodding to herself. Then something changed. She stopped talking. Her smile faded, and she leaned closer to the screen. She adjusted the angle. Zoomed in. Zoomed again. I noticed her breathing grow shallow. Her fingers trembled slightly as she wiped them on her coat. The silence stretched so long it made my chest tighten. "Is everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she asked questions that didn't make sense. How long had I been married? Where was my husband born? Had I ever seen his medical records? My excitement slowly turned into fear. Then she stood up, locked the door, and lowered her voice. Her hands were shaking now. She looked at me, not at the screen, and said quietly, "Please listen carefully." I felt dizzy. "This isn't something I can explain here," she whispered. "But you need to protect yourself." My heart pounded as she leaned closer and said the words that shattered everything I believed. "You need to leave your husband. Immediately." I stared at her, waiting for her to laugh, to tell me this was some terrible misunderstanding. "Why?" I whispered. "What did you see?" My voice barely sounded like my own. She shook her head slowly, eyes filled with fear, not confusion, not concern, but fear. "I can't say it directly," she replied. "If I do, I put myself at risk." But what appeared on that screen wasn't a medical complication. It wasn't genetic, and it wasn't about your baby. My stomach dropped. She sat down across from me, lowering her voice even more. "In my career, I've only seen this twice," she said. "Both times, the women ignored the warning. Both times, their lives were destroyed." I felt my hands go numb. "What does this have to do with my husband?" I asked, already knowing the answer. Her jaw tightened. "Everything." She explained that certain markers, certain inconsistencies, didn't match what they should, not with the information I'd provided. It suggested something far darker, something intentional, something tied to a past that wasn't clean. "I'm begging you," she said, gripping my arm. "Don't confront him. Don't ask questions. Don't go home and pretend nothing happened. Leave quietly. Today." She scribbled a number on a piece of paper and slid it into my hand. "Call this lawyer. Pack essentials only. Trust your instincts." As I stood to leave, my legs shaking, she added one last thing. "Whatever you think you know about your husband," she said softly, it isn't the truth. I didn't go home that day. I drove aimlessly, my hands gripping the steering wheel as my mind replayed the doctor's words again and again. That night, while my husband texted me sweet messages asking if everything was okay, I did something I had never done before. I started looking for answers. I began with small things. Old emails. Documents he always kept locked away. Then I searched public records, using details I barely understood. What I found didn't make sense. Dates didn't line up. Names appeared twice, then disappeared. One identity led to another, and another after that. My heart raced with every click. The next day, I called the number the doctor had given me. The lawyer listened quietly, then asked one question that made my blood run cold. Did your husband ever explain his medical history in detail? He hadn't. With help, the truth began to surface. My husband wasn't just hiding parts of his past, he had erased them. He had been involved in something illegal years ago, something tied to falsified records and stolen identities. The pregnancy wasn't an accident. It was calculated. A way to anchor himself to a new, clean life using me. The doctor had recognized a pattern from an old case, one that never made the news. That ultrasound didn't reveal a medical problem. It revealed a lie so carefully constructed, it almost fooled everyone. I felt sick, betrayed, terrified. The man I loved had chosen me because I was trusting, quiet, and easy to control. That realization hurt more than anything else. Before he could sense my distance, I left. No confrontation. No goodbye. I chose survival over answers, knowing some truths are too dangerous to uncover slowly. I'm safe now, but safety came at a cost. I left behind the life I thought I had, the future I imagined, and the man I believed I loved. Starting over wasn't easy. Every sound made me flinch. Every unfamiliar face made my heart race. Trust didn't come naturally anymore. But slowly, day by day, I rebuilt. I focused on protecting my child and myself. I changed my name, my routine, my world. Some nights, I still think about how close I came to staying, how easily love could have blinded me forever. I think often about that doctor, a stranger who risked everything to warn me when she didn't have to. She saved my life by trusting her instincts, and in doing so, taught me to trust mine. This experience changed me. It taught me that love should never require silence, fear, or blind faith. Sometimes, the truth doesn't arrive gently. Sometimes, it comes as a warning. If you ever feel something is wrong, listen. That quiet voice inside you might be the one thing standing between you and a life you can still save.